Good morning, everyone. We are ready to dive, or ready to go to Palos Verdes for a dive. Conditions are not looking fantastic, but we're gonna go out there. It says it's about 2 to 3, which is fine. It's not great, but we're gonna head out. We have a Mexico trip planned for the weekend leading up to 4th of July. Heading down to Ensenada for a really quick trip. So in preparation of that, not only get a dive in, get familiar with the gear again, because it's been a while, but just prepare ourselves, make sure everything's good, and just get one kind of sanity check in before we go. So we're going to head out to Palos Verdes, and then, yeah, so we'll see how it is. We're going to check out a couple spots first, and then figure out where we're going to go, depending on how the conditions look. So we're going to be looking for how the water is hitting the shoreline or wherever we're at. Essentially that, where the current is coming from, so how's it feeding into the coves, and then winds, all that stuff. But anyway, we're gonna go there, check it out. Check out this particular spot. This, after the storms in the winter, was empty. There was no kelp whatsoever. Look at all this. Very cool, but conditions look very murky. You can see that there, the milkiness. That's what we're looking at. Just got to the spot. This particular spot, it's probably about a foot of surf. It's in a pretty big cove, so we'll find out. Let's head in. First dive back in about a month. Conditions have not been good, well, with the weekend at least. And so I've kind of missed the peak of white sea bass season, but today's dive, that's the hope, to load up and catch white sea bass. So go big or go home. It's one or the other. Usually when you're hunting white sea bass, you don't go for other fish. And so we're loading up here and we're checking out this new spot in Palos Verdes, or pretty close to where we usually fish. A new area, seemed pretty promising with the amount of kelp. And so the conditions that day were about a foot or so of surf in this particular spot, but the forecast said 2 to 3. Surge was pretty moderate to light, so nothing too bad pushing around. Visibility was anywhere from 7 to 10 feet, so usable for sure, and I think it was just perfect enough for white sea bass. You want a little bit of murk working with you, from my experience and what I hear from others. So here we go, let's head in. So as you can see here, most of the spot was actually pretty sandy at the bottom. Structure was pretty limited, a couple scattered here and there, but mostly a sandy bottom, which is not what I'm used to when I'm hunting white sea bass. I'm used to more rock formations, things like that. But just here, I'm trying this technique where I just stay on the floor, look up, and hopefully I see a nice big shadow come through, or I stay at the top, stay really quiet. So the whole name of the game is staying stealthy and quiet, and especially when you're larger like me, trying to stay a low profile, trying to hide in with the kelp and not make too much noise. As you notice on the previous clip, the Opaleye are actually pretty friendly in terms of they're not trying to run away, they're not skittish compared to other areas. This area is actually a SMCA, which is kind of a version of an MPA and probably butchering that, but essentially you can't take reef fish. That's the bottom line, among other things, but you are allowed to take pelagics, white sea bass being one of them, so hence being in this area. But you can see here, I actually see a couple of decent sized sheephead. Obviously you can't take them, but it's really cool to see them swimming about and being healthy, and them letting you get pretty close. So here's some more opaleye. But yeah, so that's why they're just floating around here, really unbothered and not too afraid of you. This whole area is a SMCA, and I'll have more information in the description. So as you may have assumed, no white sea bass today. We went out there. We did see a couple small ones, which was promising, but no keepers or potential keepers. So I did want to share this. On the right hand side, you'll see a dive recap. This is from my Garmin. I have a Garmin Descent Solar that I got as a gift to someone recently. I haven't been able to test it very much due to dive conditions, but you could see that my deepest dive was 18 feet, average 12. Longest dive was a minute 32, and the overall dive session was a little over an hour. So I just wanted to share these metrics. I'm going to keep sharing these throughout my videos. I think this could be helpful for me, for those of you that are seasoned, if you have any pointers on if you see those charts and you see something interesting. And for those of you that are starting out or thinking about starting, here's some information about my personal dives. I know when I was starting out, I assumed everyone dove and could hold their breath for 2 to 5 minutes easy, and that was definitely not the case. I was psyching myself out, but I definitely could be better. Taking some classes that could help, that could definitely help. But yeah, so let me know what you think. Alrighty everyone, just finished our dive. No white sea bass. We did see one. My dive buddy Devin did end up seeing a smaller one, but no pelagics found in this area. But yeah, we are here at Tokyo Central in Torrance, or Gardena, Torrance. But this is one of the largest ones I've ever been to. It's always fun to come to this area and explore. But if you're ever in Palos Verdes after diving, there he is, grabbing the food. But yeah, so we're gonna grab some grub and then wrap it up. But this is in preparation for a Mexico trip. We're heading down to Ensenada the weekend of 4th of July. And then yeah, so we're gonna go out, but felt good today. Things to work on. We're gonna eat clean. Rest up properly leading up to the dive. But it was overall a fun dive, trying a new area, but we're gonna eat. See ya. All right everyone, we got our food. If you ever come to the Tokyo Central in Torrance, you gotta try takoyaki. They make it fresh. It's the first one right when you come in, the first food stall, so you can't miss it. You got this. Got fried tofu. In Korean we call it ibuchobap. What do they call it in Japanese? Inari? Probably, I'm sorry. And then we got a roll here. Let's see what's inside of this one. Some imitation crab, tamago, some pickles, cucumber.